Wendy Williams speaking out on Diddy's arrest, telling Daily Mail it's about time the embattled music mogul was investigated.
You know, my thing about when you date a mogul is that it's really difficult to avoid them, because if you use your head, you never know when they're gonna pop up on the scene. Like, he's mogul, like he can hire a plane right now, zoom it to South Africa, land on the roof of the hotel where she's staying, okay? Pay people off at the front desk, give me the key and let me up in her room.
Diddy is now facing serious legal trouble for some truly horrifying crimes, and it's hard to ignore the fact that while he was allegedly hurting countless people, from young women to minors, Wendy Williams was one of the first to call him out. She was ahead of the game, warning us about his disturbing behavior long before the truth came to light. If Wendy were here today, she'd probably be sitting back, smirking and saying, "Clap if you're shocked." But here's the thing. Wendy didn't just expose Diddy, she also blew the lid off Jay-Z's shady dealings. So how did she know all this? In this video, we're diving into everything Wendy Williams ever exposed about Diddy and Jay-Z, and let's just say she was spot on. Let's get into it. The relationship between Wendy Williams and Diddy was anything but straightforward. Their connection was a web of professional collaboration, hidden tensions, and power plays. In the early 90s, while Diddy was busy building Bad Boy Records, Wendy was becoming a household name on New York radio. She was playing bad boy hits non-stop, giving the label exposure, but beneath the surface, there was an undercurrent of rivalry. They almost had a love-hate dynamic, a relationship teetering between allies and adversaries. This complicated dance took a darker turn in 1998, when Wendy, ever the provocateur, sparked a wildfire by suggesting Diddy might be gay. The rumor quickly spread like wildfire, adding fuel to a controversy that had been simmering for years. Diddy, who had already made a name for himself as a formidable force in the music industry, didn't take kindly to the insinuation. As soon as he caught wind of Wendy's comments, he swung into action, using his considerable clout to have her removed from the airwaves. Wendy had even received an explosive photo from a source in Cancun, a candid shot of a man pulling down Diddy's shorts. But before Wendy could bring the story to light on her show, Diddy had already ensured her removal. Diddy's power in the industry was evident in how he ensured one of the top DJs at Hot 97 was silenced, underscoring his control over the media. His influence was so strong that it made many hesitant to speak out against him. But the drama didn't end there. Kirk Burroughs, who had a front-row seat to the chaos, told a wild story about the Cancun incident. According to him, a group of girls had been snapping photos as Diddy's shorts were pulled down during a playful moment. They sent the shot to Wendy and she was ready to air it. She even suggested it might reveal something about Diddy's sexuality. The moment Wendy was set to go public, Diddy made his move. He threatened Hot 97 with a full-on boycott. No music, no promotion, unless they acted fast and removed Wendy from the station. This action demonstrated the immense sway he had over the industry. In a later interview in 2013, Wendy opened up about the deeper currents of homophobia in hip-hop at the time. She admitted that bringing up someone's sexuality in the industry was almost taboo, and that she had been burned at the stake for it. She was one of the few who dared to ask the uncomfortable questions, even if it meant facing public backlash. Yet, as much as the culture resisted change back then, she acknowledged the shift in attitudes over the years, observing that people today are more open to expressing their views. Kirk also touched on the issue of masculinity in hip-hop, challenging the industry's expectations. He argued that while there was a stigma against certain behaviors, there were plenty of openly gay figures in hip-hop in the 90s. He questioned whether it was more damaging for artists to pretend and live in denial or to embrace their true selves, regardless of the industry's expectations. In a world where image is everything, Diddy's carefully crafted persona of a successful, powerful, and masculine mogul seemed to contradict the reality of what was happening behind the scenes. The conflict between Wendy and Diddy reached a new height when Diddy took it upon himself to send a girl group from his label, Total, to confront Wendy. Wendy recalled the moment vividly. After her broadcast, she stepped outside the station and found herself face to face with the group. She noticed the entire station crowding around the windows, eager to witness the confrontation unfold. Wendy was caught completely off guard that day. She recalled, "I got off the air and Total was downstairs." Everyone inside the station was gathered around the windows waiting for something to happen. Thankfully, her boyfriend at the time arrived just in time, swooping in to defuse the situation. Wendy described standing there in confusion, only to hear her boyfriend's car screech to a halt, ready to step in. She reflected on the scene, noting the absence of security, just the three women from Total and a crowd of co-workers who were unsure what would unfold. Wendy emphasized that she wasn't the type to escalate a confrontation, especially with three women, but the tension was thick. As she tried to make sense of what was going on, one of her co-workers ventured outside, only to return with the news that Total was indeed waiting to confront her. Years later, in 2009, when Charlemagne Tha God co-hosted Wendy's radio show, they interviewed former bad boy rapper Mark Curry, who had recently released his book Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burned the Bad Boys of Hip-Hop. In the interview, Mark didn't mince words about Diddy, calling him a man with a shadow of things that follow him, and it'll rain on you too. It was clear that they were discussing the ominous aura surrounding Diddy, and Wendy listened intently, agreeing with Mark's sentiments. She was well aware of the troubling influence Diddy wielded over people. Wendy also had strong opinions about the relationship between Diddy and Cassie, often noting the significant power imbalance that seemed to exist between them, one that always tilted in Diddy's favor. "You know, my thing about dating a mogul is that it's really hard to avoid them," Wendy remarked. "If you're not careful, they'll just show up out of nowhere." She elaborated further, imagining the lengths Diddy could go to orchestrate a surprise visit. "He's a mogul. He could easily hire a plane, fly it to South Africa, land it on the hotel roof where she's staying, bribe the front desk staff, and get the key to her room. I'd be on edge knowing that someone could just drop in on me like that. It would terrify me." The concerns Wendy Williams raised about Diddy's behavior gained even more weight when Cassie took legal action against him. In her lawsuit, she described the uncontrollable and violent outbursts Diddy directed at her, which included physical assaults so severe that they caused her memory loss. Cassie spoke out about her overwhelming emotional struggles, revealing the deep trauma she endured, including suicidal thoughts and being coerced into engaging with male escorts while Diddy filmed the encounters. By 2018, as her relationship with him unraveled, Cassie accused Diddy of forcibly entering her home and imposing himself upon her. This disturbing claim echoed the very fears Wendy had warned about years before, about the dangerous dynamics of being involved with someone like Diddy. When Cassie first crossed paths with Diddy, she was just 19 years old, eager to make her mark in the music world. He introduced her to a life of excess and fast-paced glamour, a world she had never known before. At nearly 40, Diddy was at a very different point in his life, with far more experience and power. Wendy Williams had often pointed out the stark power imbalance in their relationship, where Diddy's age and position meant he had an undeniable influence over Cassie's choices and her entire world. Wendy's outspoken criticism of Diddy didn't come without a cost. He didn't take kindly to her exposing his behavior, and in retaliation, he tried to undermine her career, even attempting to blacklist her in the industry. In her 2004 memoir, The Wendy Williams Experience, Wendy openly admitted her deep resentment toward Diddy, accusing him of trying to sabotage her professional life. She wasn't shy about acknowledging the tension his actions caused her and how it lingered for years, affecting her reputation and standing in the industry. The conflict between Wendy and Diddy also played out on her radio show, The Wendy Williams Experience, in 2005, when she recounted a harrowing encounter with Total, the girl group signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records. In a 2019 talk show episode, Wendy revisited the story and provided further details about the alleged confrontation. She had been on her way to meet her boyfriend Kevin, whom she affectionately called the Good Kevin, along with her intern, whom she humorously nicknamed Skeletor. As they made their way to the elevator, Wendy noticed people outside staring at the sidewalk, signaling that something was unfolding. When Wendy reached the ground floor, she was stunned to see members of Total jumping out of a gypsy cab, clearly ready to confront her. "I'm like, for what?" Wendy recalled, still surprised. "You know what I said was true. You all are broke and you were living in the projects." Her blunt response not only highlighted the tensions between her and the group, but also underscored the animosity that had been building between her and Diddy's circle for years. Reflecting on the incident, Wendy acknowledged her desire to rise above the drama, stating, "What I did was desired to do better so I could have a purple chair and talk about it right now and then have the whole scene play out in the Lifetime movie." In a 2013 interview with Vlad TV, Wendy opened up about a pivotal moment in her career, hinting that Diddy had played a significant role in her departure from radio. She suggested that her comments about the lifestyle of a particular hip-hop artist might have been the trigger. Wendy recalled the tense atmosphere in the hip-hop industry during the early years of her career, noting, "We came from a very different era in hip-hop, one that was very open-minded. There was a radio personality, Wendy Williams, and she was almost crucified for speaking out on things like that." Her statement about being targeted for her outspokenness highlighted the broader issue of personal freedom clashing with industry power. Wendy suggested that throughout her career, she had faced numerous untold situations filled with risk and danger, pointing to the heavy-handed control exerted by figures like Diddy. "Now everything seems to be coming full circle," she remarked, alluding to the way the industry's past attempts to suppress voices like hers were finally catching up with those responsible. Fast forward to recent developments, and it seems that Wendy's long-standing concerns about Diddy's actions have found frightening confirmation. Allegations against him shook the entertainment industry in recent weeks, capturing widespread attention. Diddy's arrest in Manhattan came shortly after federal agents raided his luxurious homes in Los Angeles and Miami. Court records revealed that over 50 witnesses had been interviewed, with more expected to follow as the grand jury indictment approached. The details from these investigations were chilling. Federal agents reportedly uncovered a staggering 1,000 bottles of baby oil in Diddy's residences, along with 3 AR-15 rifles. Such discoveries suggested a chaotic lifestyle marked by questionable behavior and dangerous activities. Wendy, known for her bold commentary, would have likely had plenty to say about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. It was rumored that these bottles were connected to the notorious freak-offs, wild parties Diddy allegedly hosted where outrageous and extreme behavior was commonplace. The indictment against Diddy paints a deeply troubling picture of his alleged activities. The legal documents describe not only the extravagant nature of the parties he organized, but also the use of illegal substances, as well as the specialized equipment, extra linens, and lighting, designed to set the perfect atmosphere. This indictment reveals a troubling pattern of manipulation and control that goes far beyond celebrity excess, hinting at a deeply troubling reality of manipulation and abuse. Central to the allegations is Diddy's purported coercion of women and those in his orbit to fulfill his personal desires while simultaneously safeguarding his public image and concealing his troubling conduct. He is said to have used his wealth, influence, and the loyalty of his staff to not only expand his business empire, but also to foster what some have labeled a criminal enterprise. The charges leveled against him are severe, ranging from forced labor and assault to bribery and obstruction of justice. The indictment reveals numerous incidents dating back as far as 2009, showing a pattern of mistreatment of women. Witnesses recount incidents of Diddy dragging women and throwing objects at them, portraying an environment rife with volatility and abuse. Moreover, he allegedly deceived women into entering what appeared to be romantic relationships, only to later force them into taking part in freak-offs. These were not casual gatherings, but rather highly controlled events where Diddy maintained strict physical and psychological dominance over the participants. The freak-offs described in the legal documents are particularly troubling. These events were highly orchestrated, with Diddy reportedly directing intimate performances. The gatherings were meticulously planned, with staff reserving hotel rooms in advance, filling them with baby oil, lubricant sheets, and specialized lighting to set the mood. These marathons, which could last several days, allegedly required participants to receive IV fluids to recover from the substances used during the events. Wendy Williams has never been shy about expressing her doubts regarding the nature of Diddy's parties. She's been vocal about the suspicious activities that allegedly took place behind closed doors, particularly calling out the infamous 1999 incident involving Jennifer Lopez. Wendy did not hold back, criticizing Diddy's handling of the situation and implying that something more sinister was at play. Additionally, there are troubling revelations about how Diddy reportedly manipulated others, like Shine, to take the fall for his own actions. Wendy even recalled a wild experience involving Diddy, where she was caught speeding through traffic lights to make it to a nightclub. She humorously referred to the event as doing the purr walk and recounted spending hours in jail as a result. And speaking of exposing the truth, Wendy's interview with Karine Superhead Steffans is another notable moment. Karine, one of the first to speak out about Diddy, shared how Irv Gotti had introduced her to him at a party after Diddy expressed interest in her. In her tell-all book, Karine described the chaotic nature of the party and how she and Diddy ended up becoming involved. She also revealed that Diddy had some unusual requests involving another man, adding another layer of intrigue to the already scandalous tale. A few months later, Karen found herself at yet another one of Diddy's notorious parties, this time with Exhibit in tow. But what she witnessed there was even more disturbing. Diddy, who was known for his larger-than-life persona, was acting far from his usual charismatic self. Instead, he was visibly disoriented, seemingly under the influence of drugs, and paranoid, constantly watching his back, as if terrified that Karen might expose the details of their past encounters. The whole party felt off, as though it was a carefully choreographed spectacle, rather than an enjoyable social gathering. It was clear that Diddy was desperately trying to maintain control, and Karen couldn't help but feel the tension in the air. Then, the bombshell interview with Superhead, Karine Steffans, came. Wendy Williams, ever the fearless interviewer, was right there, ready to ask the questions no one else dared to. Karine didn't hold back, spilling the shocking details of what went down behind the scenes at Diddy's parties and the twisted requests he had made. You can almost imagine Wendy's voice, urging, "Clap if you think Diddy's guilty." But the shocking truth is, Wendy didn't just call out Diddy. She also had plenty to say about Jay-Z, especially when it came to his rumored relationships with younger women, like Foxy Brown. Jay-Z and Foxy had a professional relationship that went way beyond just music. They were frequently seen together throughout the 90s, with Jay-Z not only writing several of the tracks on Foxy's debut album, but also helping shape her career. But here's where it gets disturbing. Some of the lyrics Jay-Z penned for her were nothing short of provocative. What's even more troubling is the age difference. At the time they were collaborating, Jay-Z was a grown man in his mid-20s, while Foxy was only 15. To put that into context, one of the songs Jay-Z wrote for Foxy, Ain't No Nigga, includes lines like, "Ain't no end like the one I got. No one can fuck you better. Sleeps around, but he gives me a lot. Keeps you in diamonds and leathers. Friends tell me I should leave you alone. Tell the freaks to find a man of their own. These lyrics aren't just sexually charged. They're alarming, especially when you consider Foxy's age at the time. Furthermore, Jay-Z wrote a line for Foxy Brown's song Il Na Na, which seemed to reference his pursuit of her. While he didn't rap in the song, he contributed this specific line. First the mansion, then the yacht, sound proper. Straight Cash got bloodhounds trying to hunt down the brown fox. Given that Jay-Z was reportedly 27 years old at the time and Foxy was only 15, the timing and context raised significant questions. Wendy Williams has been outspoken about their dynamic, especially when Foxy and Jay-Z promoted their album together. She noted how, during the promotional period, Foxy was clearly the focus, while Jay-Z appeared uncomfortable, nervously standing aside and asking, "Okay, all right, what do I do next?" The romance between them has always been shrouded in speculation, but let's be real. We all have a pretty good idea of what was going on. It's widely rumored that Foxy and Jay-Z had a fling before he was with Beyoncé. Beyond the gossip, some reports claim that Jay-Z financially supported Foxy during her high school years, covering her shopping sprees and even her trips to the salon for hair and nail treatments. The connections in the hip-hop world are often more intertwined than they appear, especially when it comes to personal relationships. Those who went to school with Foxy Brown recall how Jay-Z would pick her up after school. Interestingly, Biggie Smalls was also said to have given her rides, but while they were just friends, the word on the street was that Foxy and Jay were romantically involved. There's even talk of a tape that supposedly features Jay-Z, Foxy, and Jamie Foxx in intimate situations. After the threesome, it's claimed that Jay-Z made Foxy sign several gag orders to keep the incident quiet. Shortly afterward, the tape mysteriously disappeared from her house, adding to the intrigue. Adding another layer to the story, there have been rumors that Jay-Z might have given Foxy an STD. Wendy Williams was among those who seemed to have the inside scoop on these developments. However, Foxy isn't the only one involved in these kinds of allegations. There are whispers that Jay-Z has engaged in some of the same questionable behavior that Diddy has been accused of. It's also worth mentioning that Jay-Z had a close relationship with R. Kelly, with the two collaborating on several tracks. Their bond was partly built around their shared affection for Aaliyah, which adds complexity to the conversation. Jaguar Wright, a vocal industry figure, has also spoken out about what she knows, despite being labeled crazy by many for her accusations. Additionally, Nas has suggested that Jay-Z was well aware of R. Kelly's troubling actions with young women, particularly Aaliyah. During an interview with Wendy Williams, Nas hinted that he could have exposed Jay-Z's knowledge of the infamous R. Kelly tape, implying that Jay may have been involved in that scene as well. You can't seriously tell me that Jay-Z didn't notice a 14-year-old girl walking into the studio and sitting on R. Kelly's lap. With federal investigations now underway into Diddy's alleged trafficking of young women across state lines, the question arises, should Jay-Z also be under more scrutiny? His name has frequently come up in conversations involving both Diddy and R. Kelly, and the connections are starting to look more than coincidental. Let's not forget about Beyoncé, Jay-Z's wife, and the somewhat unclear timeline of their relationship. While they've officially stated they started dating when Beyoncé was 19, there are plenty of people who claim they were involved long before that. Despite the secrecy around their early days together, Jay-Z eventually married Beyoncé. But have you heard the rumors about his allegedly controlling behavior throughout their relationship? Wendy Williams has long suggested that figures like Diddy, Jay-Z, and R. Kelly all operate within the same circles. As Wendy has pointed out, everything seems to be coming full circle. While Diddy and R. Kelly are already facing the consequences of their actions, it feels like Jay-Z's past might be catching up to him soon, and when it does, it could get messy. What do you think? Is it time for an apology to Wendy for all the criticism she faced as the one who called attention to these issues? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more. Thank you, and see you again. And